Hi guys, thanks so much for tuning into this video. I am Jay Theo, and today I want to discuss my thoughts and some tips and tricks when it comes to our gay sexual health, a starter pack as you will, for what I think every gay man should have in his arsenal when it comes to his sexual health, when it comes to his sexual wellness, when it comes to just being the best prepared for sex. So I'm going to go through a few things that I think every gay man should have in his back pocket, and also just what he should consider when it comes to his own sexual journey. So y'all, with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into it, and let's discuss my thoughts, my version of a gay sexual health and wellness starter pack. Okay, so the first thing I think that every gay man should have when it comes to his sexual health, when it comes to his sexual wellness, is a queer, gay, friendly doctor. Now, your doctor doesn't need to be gay, they don't need to be trans, they don't need to be a part of the queer community, but they do need to be queer friendly. I also think if you are a person of color, your doctor should be a person of color. If you are black, I think your doctor should be black, things like that, or a person of color. But I know that can get a lot more difficult as you kind of start laying on the different demographics and the different aspects of your identity. But I do think that at the bare minimum, your doctor should be queer friendly. And I say this because as new things and medicines and things pop up in the medical world that can benefit queer individuals and gay men, it's definitely beneficial to have a doctor that's on top of knowing those things. So for instance, PrEP treatments, HIV treatments, things like Doxy, things like that, just knowing that your doctor is kind of up to speed on the latest and greatest when it comes to treatment options or when it comes to ways to prevent certain diseases. I think that's great to have a doctor that is in tune in the queer community and the queer medical, the queer side of medicine and knowing what's going on. So I definitely think that if you don't have a queer friendly doctor, I think that's something that you should work on. I think you should be able to have conversations with your doctor about your sex life. Not obviously in full detail, but if you are someone who has an active sex life, I definitely think you should be able to ask your doctors questions about your sexual health. You should be able to discuss things about STIs, STDs, preventative measures that can prevent those things. So I definitely think that everybody's the first thing on their to-do list and their starter pack when it comes to their sexual health as a gay man is to have a queer friendly doctor. And I feel like to really kind of to test to see if they're queer friendly, just let them know that you are queer. If you feel like that is a safe thing to do, if you feel that is safe, I definitely think that you need somebody monitoring your health that understands the nuances of being a gay man, that understands the nuances of gay sex. So I definitely think that, ask those questions, seek out doctors that are queer friendly. There are certain clinics, there are certain facilities that cater to the queer community. I know in LA, there's a bunch of different facilities that cater to the queer community. I know in New York, same thing. I know a lot of large cities have that. But even in smaller cities, look for those different facilities and centers that may offer care to gay men, queer men, so that you can get the most benefits from having a doctor. If nothing less though, make sure you have a primary care doctor. Make sure that you have someone that you can build a repertoire with, a history with, someone who actually is paying attention to your health, paying attention to the changes in your health. I think that's super important for any man, for any gay man, for any black or brown man. I think all of these things are important. But definitely I think number one is try to see if you can get a gay friendly doctor. Next up, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the gay friendly doctor, but doesn't 100% have to, is I definitely think that you should always be getting at least quarterly STI and HIV tests. So I definitely think, I know if you're on PrEP, that's something that you have to do often just to make sure that you're negative so that you can receive the PrEP medication. You have to continuously be getting HIV tests. But I think just with even STI tests, I think just making it every 3 months, every 3 to 4 months, I'm going to get a full panel. I'm going to get full oral, I'm going to get full rectum, I'm going to get full genital, and just do it all. I think just always keeping a system of knowing and checking and knowing what your statuses are will just be a benefit to you. You'll always make sure you're catching anything. If you're not having symptoms, you're still catching any diseases that you may catch even when you're not showing symptoms. So I definitely think it's very smart that to stay on top of your sexual health is to make sure that you are getting at least quarterly STI, HIV tests. Now, if you are an extremely active, sexually active person, you can get tests often. There's most clinics especially gay-friendly clinics, you can get tests as often as weekly if you want. Like, so now definitely you have to be cautious of like the periods of when you have unprotected sex or you have an encounter that you are worried about. You have to keep in mind the timing of infection and things like that. But I definitely think you should base your frequency of getting STI tests and HIV tests based on your activity when it comes to your sex life. So I definitely think that, but minimum, I think anybody every 3 to 4 months getting tested is a smart thing to do. I definitely think that that will just help you feel better about your health. I feel like you'll feel like you're protecting yourself and others, and I definitely think that's just something that I wish someone told me when I was younger, how often I should be getting tests and things like that. So I definitely think having those quarterly STI HIV tests is super important to maintain a great sexual health, and I think that also helps maintain a great mental health when you don't have to worry about those things. Okay, and another reason why I think STI checks and all these things are so important is, like I said, preventative care. So if you guys don't know about PrEP is preventative care for HIV. For most treatments now are one pill treatments, and now they even have a shot that you can get every other month. So there's different options out there for PrEP. Definitely ask your doctor. And yet again, guys, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician. This is just me as a gay man giving advice and giving my thoughts. But I definitely think if you are HIV negative and you are really trying to stay on top of your sexual health, you should get on PrEP. And there's different options now of how you can have that treatment. If you are HIV positive, then you already know the different treatments that you can have. There's also shots now. There also are one-a-day pills. So definitely ask your doctor about the different treatment options as well. But there are ways that they're really making maintaining your sexual health a lot easier, which I think is very, very great for the queer community. So next up, we're gonna talk about Doxy, which is short for doxycycline, which is short for also Doxycycline Pep, which is a preventative care you can take. Well, preventative, but like post-exposure treatment you can take when it comes to STIs, infections. So chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis. This is another option if you are exposed. If you take a pill between 24 to 72 hours, it can help prevent the infection of STIs such as gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis. Yet again, I am not a doctor. This is something you should ask your doctor about, but I recently asked my doctor about this and I was able to get a prescription. A lot of my friends in my gay friend group have all asked their doctors. They were all able to get prescriptions. So it is something that doctors are very aware of, and it's something that you can just keep on deck when you have those moments of unprotected sex that you want to make sure or just limit your chances of getting infected. As someone who has used Doxy before, I think it's a great tool to have in your closet, in your medicine cabinet to be preventative. I think it also is just, you know, we all have those moments of weakness where we may not always be up on our protective measures when we are having sex. So why not always have another option to prevent a potential infection or anything like that? So I definitely recommend that everybody in their starter pack, when it comes to their sexual health, should be asking their doctors about Doxy. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I definitely think you guys should ask your doctors about that, and if that's a preventative treatment you can be on when it comes to protecting yourself sexually. I think it's really smart to kind of take advantage of all the opportunities to protect yourself, but definitely that's a question that you would need to ask your doctor. But I definitely want it to be on all of your radars. Doxy, Doxy, Doxy. Obviously, condoms, you should always keep that in your back pocket. That should always be a part of your starter pack. I think just, you know, always taking measures to be safe. But we know in our gay community that sometimes condoms are not always the protective measure of choice. So definitely make sure you have other options to protect yourself. But I'll always recommend condoms as a easy tool to have when you want to protect yourself. Okay, so now I want to talk about aspects of our sexual health and wellness when it comes to preparation for sex, particularly more from a bottom standpoint, since that is more the level of where you have to prepare. So first off, I think a lot of our preparation when it comes to sex is when you're on the bottom route, or you're prepping to be on the bottom side of things for the night. It definitely comes to our digestive system. And at the end of the day, that's what it is at the core. So I definitely think, you know, if you are someone who wants to engage and in sex, and you take on the role as bottom a lot, or you just, that is just a part of your sexual preference, then I definitely think that you should really be looking at what you eat and also thinking about how to make sure that you're getting that fiber to clean out and make sure that you are always having like a regular system, because that will help you in your sexual journey. So for me, I know a lot of people talk about Pure for Men, which I do have Pure for Men. I think Pure for Men is something to always have on deck. This is a fiber supplement, and it has like psyllium husk, which is really good for kind of keeping things compact, and chia seeds and all that, which helps kind of like make nature does its thing. I honestly like to pair my Pure for Men with apple cider vinegar gummies. So this is not a promo, they're not paying me for this, y'all, but when I say these apple cider vinegar gummies they have pectin in it, which is the fiber in apples, and y'all, it just makes everything, it gets it out. And I just feel like the biggest thing, I feel like when it comes to preparing for sex in gay world, is always making sure if you are ready. Like if nature ran its course that day or the day before, and I will say that I take these every day and I do not have any issues with nature running its course. And if you pair them with these, or if you get psyllium husk on its own and other like little supplements, it can help kind of compact everything so that you're good to go. So I definitely think every gay man starter pack, if you are someone who's versed or you bottom or you're open to bottoming, should always pay attention to their fiber intake. I also think drinking a lot of water. I drink 8 glasses of water a day, y'all, minimum. I have one of those half-gallon jugs. I actually don't know where it is right now. I think it's in my kitchen. But I drink that every day just to make sure that I'm always having water go through. It's also great for the skin. But I definitely think just making sure you're drinking water will always help. And also at the end of the day, we're humans. Water helps us stay lubricated. It helps us stay, where things kind of do what they're supposed to do. So I definitely also recommend that you drink as much water as you can. I recommend the doctor special of, the typical doctor, 8 glasses a day is kind of where I am with water, or more than that. I don't think you have to drink a gallon, but half a gallon or at least 4 to 5 glasses of water a day I think helps a lot with just helping the body do what it's supposed to do. Also, just eating fruit, any bananas. I'm a big banana person. I make great smoothies. I love apples, grapes, strawberries, just things. Fruit just has a lot of things in it that help your body kind of digest and do what it's supposed to do. So I recommend vegetables as well. I love stir fry, I love peppers, I love broccoli, I love spinach. So definitely make sure you're getting a lot of that in your system too. The nature will definitely do what it needs to do. And you'll have less drama when you're trying to hook up or when you're trying to link up with somebody. You'll kind of know where your body's at with that. Next up, I do want to say, also for my bottom girls, I do think like moisturizers for your bum bum. So this is like Pure for Men's bum bum. My other friend just showed me another one. It's this Mango Sense, another brand, but it's actually like moisturizer and creams you can put, in the area to make it, kind of like smell good, taste good, all the things. So I definitely recommend products like this. I'll try to drop some of the other products in the bio just so you guys have them, but I definitely think things that you can kind of make the area kind of be a little bit more vibrant down there, I think those are always great to have, and I definitely think you should add to your starter pack, or you should have in your arsenal as a gay man. Okay, next up, when it comes to preparation, y'all, not to get too TMI, but I definitely think we all need to have bulbs on deck. And I'm not about to sit here and explain it to them what they do, but I think we should always have bulbs on deck to make sure you have something to do what you need to do, okay? So I have this size bulb, when, nature ran its course, and for the most part, all you need to do is kind of just a little something, nothing too intense. I have this size. I also have this size for when, nature maybe didn't run its course as much as I would have liked that day, and I just want to make sure I'm getting as, intense as I need to make sure things are good to go. So I definitely think this is another size that I recommend just to have on deck, because you just never know. But I definitely think that you always should use water. Distilled water, filtered water is the best. Definitely want to make sure you're not putting things in your system that you shouldn't be, but definitely always water. I think always having a silicone-based lube or like coconut oil to make sure you are making it a lot easier for you to use these items. I think silicone-based lube is one of the best lubes. I like water-based lube too. I mean, that's good for the sheets as far as like not staining or anything like that. I definitely think it's always having a good silicone or water-based lube on deck. It's helpful, and always and coconut oil or things like that. but just making sure that you have different size bulbs for different situations, I think are smart to have in your arsenal when it comes to your sexual preparation and your sexual health. Also, I mean, another trick, if you just haven't had a busy day and you really want to hook up tonight and you just know things weren't going the way they were supposed to go. Yet again, I'm not a doctor, but if you want to pick up some over-the-counter Imodium, that is a helpful trick. You know, it's an anti-diarrheal, so it stops things from doing what they're supposed to do. So I always recommend, and me and my friends, we talked about it, taking it before you start prepping. So taking it earlier in your preparation process. You know, medicine takes a while to work. It usually lasts for about 24 hours. Pop an Imodium or two, and that can kind of help keep things tight and right if all else fails and you kind of need that added barrier. But yet again, I'm not a doctor, but Imodium is a cute trick to use if you are in dire need. So that's all the preparation from like a bottom standpoint. I definitely think there can be preparation you can have as a top. I also think, you know, sometimes you're out and about, you're lit, you're drunk, you're all the things, and your mind and your body is not always linking up. I definitely think having some cock rings on deck, different sizes, are always helpful to make sure that you can, you know, you can be alert if you need to be alert. Different sizes can do different things. Different sizes can cover the whole base. Different sizes can cover just the shaft, things like that. I definitely think always getting the ones that have stretch to it and can do a lot of movement, especially for us, you know, black and brown guys. I think having some stretch is always necessary. But as somebody who is versed and who I don't top as much as the bottom, but someone who's versed, I definitely think having these things on deck, you know, just kind of always helps. Just be careful with cock rings. You're never supposed to have them on for too long. No more than 30 minutes to an hour, I think, max. So just be careful with things like that. But I definitely think they can be helpful when you're a little tipsy or when you just need a little additional help when you are going to take it on that top row. So I think those are just something else you can just have in your back pocket. Nobody says you have to use them. Nobody's saying you have to use them all the time. And I know sometimes there's stigmas with things like that, but I think we know our body best. And why not always be over prepared than under prepared? I just feel like having a hookup or an encounter go downhill just because we weren't prepared and because we were embarrassed and things like that. It's like, why not keep it real? We're grown at the end of the day. Like, I feel like sometimes you can open the door to somebody else kind of learning from a new experience and being more open to things when you try things and you use things to make the sexual experience better. So I definitely think cock rings are something to have on deck, especially if you're versed or if you're top, just in case things happen. Because, you know, sometimes our mind just isn't linked right where we need it to be with our body. So sometimes you need that added help. Lastly, back to one last thing when it comes to my verse or my bottom boys, I definitely think having some toys around that allow you to kind of like test the waters, pun intended, when it comes to your preparation. I think that's super smart. I preach to anybody that you should have a toy, an average size toy, just to kind of test the waters, see how things are going before you head out for the night, before your boo comes over. I think that's just smart. I know a lot of people have a lot of, especially in the black community, there's a lot of a lot of ugh when it comes to toys, but I just don't see why not have something to just check things out. I also think it's a great way to kind of get your body kind of prepared and kind of get rid of that anti-shock element that happens when you are engaging in gay sex. So I just think that's something to consider. But yeah, guys, so those are all my thoughts, tips, and tricks for a gay sexual health and wellness starter pack. I definitely wish that I would have gotten this as a younger gay man, or even in the last like 5 years, of just tips and tricks to kind of just make sexual journey and the sexual adventures just that much more amazing. Be sure to comment, let me know what are your thoughts, what is in your gay sexual health starter pack. Do you have a gay friendly doctor? Are you looking for a gay friendly doctor? Have you ever took preventative measures like PrEP or Doxy? What advice do you have for those things? Yeah, be sure to drop in the comments any thoughts you have on gay sexual health and wellness and what some of your experiences have been. I think at the end of the day, we're all a gay community, and the way we can keep sharing knowledge and helping others, I think that's gonna make our community thrive. So guys, hoping you learned a thing or two from this video. Thanks for tuning in. As always, do your best to stay safe, stay positive, and I will see you guys on the next video.